Okay, let's get right to our panel. CNBC's Mackenzie Sigalos, super analyst Dan Ives of Wedbush, Big Technologies Alex Kantrowitz, he's a CNBC contributor. So is Malcolm Ethridge of Capital Area Planning Group. He owns the stocks. Good to have everybody with us. Mac, turn to you. Any surprises today from your eyes?
Keynote ended a lot earlier than people thought it would. And the surprise was that there were no surprises. And that's part of why you saw the stock spike 3% right at the start of the address. And as it wrapped, ended in the red. And we saw what we were talking about at 12 p.m. today. All of the features that they promised 2 years ago. A lot has changed in the generative AI race since then. So there was almost this hope that you would get a surprise and delight moment, which is what Apple likes to tout. And secondly, we didn't get John Turnus on stage. There's no handing of the baton. And even as Tim Cook wrapped his remarks, it just felt very canned.
Well, I feel like, you know, this was Tim Cook's moment, and maybe they wanted it to be that way. He's going to give the baton figuratively soon enough anyway. Why do you think the stock turned down? Was the dirty word of the day beta? Is that when the stock turned down?
I thought this was 300 yards down the middle in terms of what they delivered. I mean, you know, in terms of the AI strategy, foundationally the models in terms of Gemini they talked about. Nothing surprising in terms of EU or in terms of, you know, some of the deployments. I think developers are going to be extremely pleased with everything they saw. Look, now they have a horse in the race. They actually have the AI strategy that then they will build devices after. Last few years, 2 years ago, it was all about, you know, the whole promise. None was delivered. Last year was sort of shrugged his shoulders. Finally, they delivered.
And beta is what they did with Apple Intelligence as well. It's the exact same rollout strategy as 2 years ago.
Well, I feel like in some respects, AK, that maybe is what the market's questioning, or what investors are questioning, beta versions of these rather than live and ready to go, in quotes. What was your takeaway from that?
Definitely. I mean, you can't blame investors if they got a trauma flashback seeing beta. It's going to be released in the fall. A lot of very, you know, less ambitious features than the last time, but features that are going to take some work on the AI front. And if you're an investor saying Apple really needs to deliver now, you don't want to see this, okay, well, we're going to have a version that might be the final version that will come out in the fall. So when does the actual version come out? Is that, you know, now in 2027? I think that's why we saw the reaction that we did.
You want to respond to that?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say from a timing perspective, I mean, this is exactly how I thought they would roll it out. And I think as we go through the summer, you know, you're ultimately going to see, I think, a lot of these go fully, you know, GA. And then obviously when they go into the new iPhone release, there was nothing to me that was surprising in terms, and I think developers in terms of beta or the rollout. But I think what Alex is talking about is true, that investors, they're snake bitten the last few years. They now need to see it. I think they delivered it, need to execute. But look, I come out of here, I personally think there's one, the stock should be up, not down.
I mean, snake bitten. Those are interesting words, Malcolm, considering what the stock's done. We earlier today hit a new, or we were right there again on a new high. I said since WWDC last year, this stock added $1.6 trillion in market cap. That's hardly sounds snake bitten to me. That sounds like an investor base that has been giving this company the benefit of the doubt.
Well, I think that's also to Mackenzie's point about why we saw really strong excitement when the keynote started, and it started to wane maybe 30 minutes into it. We got all the way up to about 317 and then started to trail back to 300 because shareholders realized there's not going to be that surprise and delight that we were hoping would be the thing to move the needle. I'm wondering if maybe we're not hearing the word beta as a way to just create a little bit of a buffer just in case we're back in 2024 where we overpromised and then underdelivered. Maybe it's there just to create a little bit of caution or a little bit of a buffer so that expectations aren't too high, and then they can actually really surprise and delight when this enhanced Siri does roll out. And it is something that rolls out with a little bit more fanfare because we've couched it in that word beta.
So, Dan, I mean, when the commentary coming in was that Apple needs to reframe itself as an AI winner, that we need to see evidence of a genuine step change. That's some of the other analyst commentary outside of yours that has been floating out there leading up to this. You think we accomplished that? Did we today reframe Apple as an AI winner? Did we see evidence of a step change?
Oh, I thought it was crystal clear because now you actually have a foundational model. you're going to be able to use Siri essentially as a model for the 1.5 billion iPhones, 2.5 billion iOS devices. And now they're basically saying, like, okay, we have it in-house. We finally are delivering what you could do with all the data, and it's going to be secure, as well as also it's the cross-pollination with the apps. You know, that's very, very important. They're basically saying this is how the app system's coming in. Guess who they're speaking to? It's not me, it's not you. They're speaking to developers.
Well, that's the whole point of this event over the days that they have it. AK, did they move the football far enough from Siri being a personal assistant with all sorts of bells and whistles to agentify it enough that it's going to be a truly game-changing part of the whole experience that Apple wants to bring its users?
Yeah, it's very interesting. You know, I think in 2024, we heard a lot about this agentified type of Siri. I actually took something completely different away today. I thought today was all about context. And I think this is a move of the football forward, because what they're going to do is use generative AI to provide context in your world. When you're trying to get things done, you'll be able to search through your apps, through your text, and it will give you context that you need. When you're on the phone and you're speaking with an airline, you'll get that context right there. That's something that generative AI is really good for, generative AI V1. And that sets the stage for the action, the more agentic activities that you could see in the future. So what I really liked about Apple, and the vision I liked today, was they're building for where the technology is. They're not building for generations ahead of it. They're building something that they think can actually get off the ground and work. When you focus on that context, that's something that you can actually get done. And then over time, it could be, now let's take that next action for you. Something that's been very difficult for any builder of generative AI to be able to pull off. But Apple is in position because it's built this all into the operating system.
Malcolm, nobody should read too much into a 1% move, or even if you look at a stock that was up a few percentage points and now it's negative on a one-day thing, to make some sort of grand leap. Apple has a tendency, whether it's earnings or even an event like this, you run up into the number or the event ends up being a bit of a sell, maybe for a little while. But as we've seen, the stock has had an ability to rebound pretty substantially and pretty quickly because the dip buyers always come into this name.
I would actually disagree with you a little bit there, Scott. I think that this was the moment that investors would have rewarded Apple for some sort of enhancement that we didn't expect. I think that the direction of the shares as the keynote started tells us that there was opportunity for momentum, especially since we recovered from that sell-off late last week into Friday. The market is saying, Apple investors specifically were saying, I will reward you with additional share purchases if you give me a reason to. And I think what's missing here, and I'm basing this too on the commentary from Dan and then also Alex, we didn't see anything that answered the question of how are you going to monetize this in a way that actually speaks to Wall Street. So, yes, it's great that as a user, I'm one of the 2 billion users globally that is in that install base. And so if there is a way for you to figure out how you'll monetize enhanced Siri and make it so great and so sticky in my life that I'm willing to pay an extra $5 or $10 a month now across 2 billion users, now you can see where that starts to become valuable and add additional top-line revenue to that services category. As a shareholder, I'm looking for that, and I think the lack thereof could be the reason why these shares didn't get set on fire today like they probably could have.
You buy that?
And to Malcolm's point, and Alex's great point as well, they're going to monetize it in 3 ways. One, okay, as more and more is in the system, from cloud to other apps that are going to come in, how they're going to, it's all part of the services. That's how we talk about, you could get an incremental 10, 15% of services, incremental growth over the coming years. Two, this is setting the stage for what are going to be years of devices built around this technology. And the third, they're saying, we're not Anthropic or OpenAI. We know we're not going to be the best. We now just want to be in the game because we have something they don't, 1.5 billion iPhones.
And that's such a big part of this, the fact that they finally have functional AI. And even if it didn't surprise in terms of new functionality, what it does do is open up this backlog of products that have been sitting in an R&D lab, unable to be released because they didn't have the software for it. And so you think about glasses or these product of AI consumer devices or some of these HomePod reboots or other things that are being talked about, this tabletop robot, all of that was waiting for AI. So yes, did we see all these features with Android's new release powered by Gemini a month ago? Sure. But that's where you're going to see a new monetization stream.
Malcolm, maybe no surprises today is a good thing. We knew what at least what we thought was going to be on the table today. Mac laid that out perfectly during halftime at the very top before this whole thing started today. And we got a real view of what Siri AI is going to be. And the stock had run a lot into the event today anyway. So I'd be hesitant to look at a price action during an event like this, and even on the backside of it in this very same day, and make the leap that investors are somehow disappointed because they didn't get more.
Yeah, I think maybe the strength of iPhone 17 sales on their own have created a little bit of cloud cover, and maybe the company decided its strategy could be to go a little bit more conservative with this event, because they don't necessarily need to wow anybody, because the shares haven't fallen off of a cliff over that 2-year period that we've been saying Apple is falling behind and where are they with their strategy. And so to the point I think you guys are all making, they don't have to at this moment, so they didn't. I just think that, as the market is unfolding the way that it is, as we have this upward pressure underneath the market today, it seemed to me like a perfect setup where it was their moment to lose, and we didn't necessarily get that thing that really blew our socks off. But maybe to you guys' point, the refresh of the entire hardware set is possible because AI now is here, and this is where it starts to hit that next leg that shareholders will reward them for.
I would just say to Malcolm's point that they're ultimately, just like the Knicks are going to show it on the court tonight, Apple is going to show, they're going to execute. They're going to show it on services, show it in the new devices, and it all comes down to monetization. I just don't believe where the stock is here that you are baking in really any AI-related monetization.
You also saw Alphabet move lower on this, and I think it's interesting because there's the whole compute side of this. And part of what came up in the keynote is this focus on private servers, more local inference, not having to rely on Google Cloud. But when that deal announcement came out in January that they'd be pairing up, they said that they'd be using Google Cloud. That didn't come up today. And I wonder how you do power this reboot. You asked about it launching in beta. That also helps them save on infrastructure and makes it less of an onerous task running everyone at scale at once.
AK, I'd like to spend the next couple minutes before we go talking a little bit more about Tim Cook's legacy. He received, a thunderous ovation at the very beginning when he came on the stage. He made note of the fact that this is his last WWDC. Now, what do you think his AI legacy is going to be? His stewardship, as I said a couple hours ago, is unquestioned. The stock performance speaks for itself, 2,200+% during his tenure. But more recent investors are going to look at whatever he is deemed to have done on the AI road and decide whether that was a winning way to have the curtain come down or not. How would you assess that?
I think it will all come down to the follow through from today's event, because when you think about it, he has set in motion the right product strategy where Apple is able to take the context of your life and on your phone, use AI to make things easier for you. And if you think about the competitors trying to come for Apple in this, it's the Metas who've been trying to build personal superintelligence and the OpenAIs that have been trying to build their own set of hardware devices, right? That is the challenge for Apple over time. It is the fact that its growth could be cut off by an AI-first device. And again, of course, Meta has those glasses that you might be wearing, to keep your AI assistant with you. So this was Apple setting the stage for its attempt at an AI device, turning the iPhone into an AI device. If the company can follow through here, then there's a good chance that the Meta initiative and the OpenAI initiative will struggle to get off the ground because those features are live already in the iPhone. But again, I think with this company, it is a wait and see to a degree. I think the nice thing is they've been humble. They've decided, okay, we can't build it ourselves. We're going to partner with Google. But ultimately, can they execute? Can they take it that next step? And again, going back to that beta world, everyone's a little bit nervous about it watching it, but that will be Tim Cook's legacy, is whether they can actually follow through on the vision.
Mac, you have something?
Our Kif Lesswing is at a briefing right now with Craig Federighi, software chief. He said that for these models, they're using none of the models that Google deploys to their customers, nor do they use the infrastructure and means by which they deploy models to their customers. So very much partitioning themselves off. Saying that just a moment ago.
Yeah.
Malcolm, I'll come to you. When Tim Cook, as we have on the screen here, says the best is still ahead, is that how you feel as a shareholder today?
I think it's possible. Typically, a company tends to take on the personality of its leader. And so maybe what we're talking about is leaving the era where the leader was the supply chain guy and moving more into a product-focused environment. Maybe that is now where we start to capitalize on these investments that have been made into the agentic AI narrative, the agentic AI era under Turnus, and we will start to see those products that really do, like I said, start to knock our socks off, and that is the shift that takes the stock in a different direction.
Dan, I'll give you the last word. Same question. Best is still ahead, according to Tim Cook. You feel that?
Get the popcorn out. This is just the start as he's handing the baton to Turnus.
All right, the Turnus era is going to officially begin in not too long from now. Everybody, appreciate that very much. Thank you. Malcolm, we'll see you soon. AK, of course, and you both here. Thanks so much for your coverage.